Many remember Age of Empires too, the castles, the knights, and the trebuchets. But before all of that, there was a game that took us thousands of years into the past and left its mark on an entire generation of strategy gamers. The first Age of Empires. If you played it in the 1990s or the early 2000s, you probably remember how every match began. A town center, 3 or 4 villagers, some berry bushes near your base, and a map covered by a fog of war. The first few minutes were always the same, but never boring. You had to find food as quickly as possible, send villagers to gather berries, hunt gazelles, search for elephants, and explore the map hoping to discover gold, stone, and forests before anyone else. Because in Age of Empires, a bad starting position could make the entire match an uphill battle. And of course, there was always the risk of losing an exploring villager to a lion that appeared when you least expected it. Little by little, the village began to grow. More houses, more villagers, more resources, and before you knew it, you were managing dozens of units at the same time. One thing that made the original Age of Empires special was its age progression system. We weren't advancing toward castles or medieval empires. Here, we started in the Stone Age, and then came the Tool Age, after that the Bronze Age, and finally the Iron Age. Reaching the Iron Age was a major milestone. It meant that the real war was about to begin, and there were certainly plenty of ways to wage war. Some players filled the map with archers, others preferred massive groups of chariots, and then there were the elephants. Slow, expensive, and difficult to produce. But when an army of elephants started marching toward your city, you knew things were getting serious. And of course, there were the priests, perhaps the most memorable unit in the entire game. Because they didn't attack, they didn't shoot arrows, they didn't launch projectiles, they simply converted enemy units to their side. Even today, many players smile when they hear the famous Few things were more frustrating than watching a powerful elephant or war chariot switch sides in the middle of a battle. Matches could last for hours. There were quiet moments devoted to expanding your economy and others when massive armies clashed in the middle of the map. Hoplites facing off against chariots, archers covering the advance of the infantry, catapults destroying buildings from a distance, and villagers trying to rebuild the city while the battle continued to rage. All accompanied by a calm soundtrack that made even the most intense moments feel special. Maybe that's why the original Age of Empires is still so fondly remembered by those who played it. It didn't have the castles of Age 2, it didn't have mythological heroes, and it certainly didn't have impressive graphics by today's standards. But it had something that's hard to explain. The feeling of building a civilization from its origin and watching it grow into a true empire. And for many of us, that's where our journey into strategy games began. Now tell me, what was your favorite unit in the original Age of Empires?